Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Shareece, and I help Black men and women heal from trauma and toxic relationships. Today, we're going to be talking about the state of the manosphere. I did a video on the manosphere that summarized what I saw at the time. I focused mostly on the Black manosphere, but I like to make the point that the manosphere started with white men. There are lots of white men on YouTube and in real life chastising white women, and patriarchy, the way we know it in America, was made by white men. Patriarchy in Africa is a little bit different. There's a lot more benefits to women in that patriarchy system, but neither here nor there. This video, I'm going to talk about Kevin Samuels, a couple of the other really big YouTube channels, and how it's really influenced our dating world. So first of all, Kevin Samuels is dead. He died of a heart attack, maybe during the pandemic or right after the pandemic. I liked Kevin Samuels. The way he died, because he also had cancer in his early 20s. So I imagine that his heart was, damaged from all of the treatments and all that stuff. But karma, I know that he was using strategy in some of the clickbaity things, the things that went viral. Like, I watched hours and hours of his content, and I'm telling you, 5% maybe is the videos that you saw. If you saw any of the clips of Kevin Samuels that went viral, 5% of those videos is him not being nice to women, right? And those women were not nice to him first. I mean, I don't operate my life like that, but I could understand why a lot of Black women didn't like Kevin Samuels, especially if they had never watched any of his content outside of the things that went viral. But yeah, him dying maybe was like a karma moment for him, that it's difficult becoming successful on YouTube, right? There's really a strategy to do it. And some would say he chose a not so good one, right? And so life happens. But a lot of men really clung to his messaging and really enjoyed that 5% moments of him berating a woman. I think it helped them in their negative feelings towards their own mother, their lack of relationship with their own father. We know that there are a lot of homes where fathers do not live in the home. Even though a lot of Black fathers are active, they don't live in the home, and that definitely has an impact on the quality of the man that ends up developing. So I think a lot of men look to Kevin Samuels as like a father figure, right? They call him Godfather. And when he died, a lot of people were in their feelings. But I thought it was a good opportunity for these men to go to therapy and to really heal their father wound, and then to become better men, because he had lots of videos on becoming a good man, like really being a man of substance, really going after your money, really being a good father, a good provider. I thought he had a lot of good points for the Black family, which, I love. But I completely get how he really shaped a lot of the Black manosphere with his messaging. He had a lot of really catchy phrases, but now he's dead. Okay, now he's dead. And so in his absence, a number of other platforms have got an opportunity to flourish. Recently, this really toxic platform, I never watched any of their videos. I think I tried watching 5 minutes to see what it was all about, and I was like, oh, the energy here is like really, really low, really, really toxic, very, very sad. Very young guys, the Fresh and Fit podcast, and they were only bringing on a certain type of woman, which we'll get to later in this video. There are different types of women. So they were only bringing on a certain type of woman in her very early 20s who has a very limited worldview. And then just trying to embarrass them. They recently got demonetized. So YouTube said, y'all are so toxic, right? It takes a lot for YouTube to demonetize, because YouTube makes money from people who make money. And so if they don't let you make money, they don't make money. So it takes a lot. The fact that they got demonetized, I think, is great, because their platform really was very toxic. And they were liars, right? They're basically men with very low confidence who get kicks out of making women feel bad. Not really interested in partnership, right? True partnership that requires a give and take, forgiveness, patience, kindness. Weren't really interested in that. And I don't think really teaching men how to be confident and good stewards in this world. There's 2 other YouTube channels that I mentioned in my first Manosphere video. One is Better Man, Better Build, Better something. The other one was the Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. And both of them are still doing the same thing. Mediocre tutorials and reviews. I don't know what his real name is. He got a cancer scare. So I believe, right, this is a spiritual sense channel. Mind, body, and soul are connected. I fully believe that if you are consuming a lot of toxic information, if you are pushing out a lot of toxic information, not that I don't think mediocre tutorials and reviews is necessarily the most toxic of them all, but it's very negative news. It's very extreme. The lows of men and women and just a lot of conflict. I think those things end up living in your body. I don't think he ended up having cancer, but he had to get like more testing or something like that. So this is him being transparent with his community. The other guy is a white guy who is continuing, and these folks have hundreds of thousands of views on their videos, right? So there's clearly an audience of sad, lonely, not getting any sex kind of men who are consuming their sort of content, not men who are ready to be in a relationship or equipped to be anybody's husband or father, but they probably are somebody's father. So they're still kind of doing a lot of the same things that they were doing 3 years ago when I did a summary of the Manosphere. I know there are a lot of other channels that have popped up. There's one channel that I don't consider to be part of the Manosphere. I've mentioned them here on my YouTube channel before, called Hardly Initiated. I think, so like some of the points I'm making about the content that we see online, so these men, Hardly Initiated, don't necessarily fall into I wouldn't consider them to fall into the Manosphere because they're giving more balanced views on men and women, and they're really focused on what partnership, like healthy partnership, can look like, and giving you tools to become better. But the idea of the male podcaster, I think, has a certain look. And then a lot of people are motivated to make things go viral because virality or outrage equals money for a lot of people. So my next point is really that social media is not real, and the type of people that are drawn to berating women online or participating in the gender war. So they're not focused on helping us understand each other more or giving you tools to be a better human. They're really just focused on getting us to continue fighting with each other. It's really a social media thing that ends up trickling into real life. So the way I think it works, because all the different types of women, right, exist. There are women who were streetwalkers back in the day, long before social media existed. There are women who used men for money. There are women who actively went after married men. All those women existed in the past and they exist now, but they are not the majority of women. So what happens with social media is you constantly see one type of woman being talked about online, and then you start to think that that woman just exists. And so similarly for men, you start to see what they call them, dusties, being described. Not that, so in the Black community, because there's so much trauma and so much poor, right, so much lack of financial wealth in the Black community, you already in real life see a disproportionate amount of Black men who don't have any money and are unlikely to be able to support a family on their own with just their income. They're gonna need a woman's income, and you pool together. So that does exist, but the level that is described online, if you look at some of the sprinkle channels that are basically telling you marry a white man because you'll be treated better over there and he has more money, when in reality men are men. Remember I told you at the beginning of this video, white men are the ones who chastise their white women. They've been doing it, right? These white women had to fight for their independence. They were fighting fighting their white men, okay? So the idea that over there you'll be treated better, or that you're sure to have money, right? Those things are not necessarily true. But when you get online, you are inundated with this negative information. You're inundated with one way of viewing. And so then you see the online gender wars happen. And then in real life, you get some of that, the information that people have gathered from online seeping into the way that they view themselves and the world, and then in their dating life, such that in real life, if they weren't online and consuming that information, they wouldn't be thinking the way they think. But now it's like, they're imitating what they've seen online, and it's becoming part of the dating reality. So I live in Atlanta. When you're in a place like Atlanta, and you just have so many people from different places come here for a specific reason, and then there's a lot of scammy reasons that people come here. You get a higher proportion of those men, and then they consume the content online, and then they act out some of what they see, right? If they weren't online, they probably wouldn't be doing that stuff, or they wouldn't be thinking about women in that particular way. But all of that fuels the in real life gender wars, where then people feel like they have a platform and they have a lot of evidence to support what they're saying. So then they'll see things like the Cheesecake Factory girl. I didn't watch the clip, but I've heard people talking about, someone saying Cheesecake Factory is not a place that she would go. She thinks it's not acceptable to go to the Cheesecake Factory for a first date. So when I tell you that that is a type of woman, and she does not represent the majority of women, right? Even she has been watching the videos online by women who are saying sprinkle, sprinkle, and you need a man to take you, you need him to spend money on you, you need him to, right? When in reality, I'm just like, y'all are going to be in a relationship at the end of the day, and a relationship cannot be based on money because it will not last. Money is important. We do need money. But the extremes that people have, the markers, the standards that people have that say, oh, if he does this, then I will be treated worthy, then my relationship will be great. It's like, it's a fallacy. Those two things are not connected, which is why there's a lot of talk of the delusional men, delusional women online, because y'all are making up these things that aren't based in reality. And if you would just go outside and have conversations with regular people, just a conversation with a regular person without having it be transactional, without requiring all these things, just getting to know a person for who they are, you would realize that a lot of the things that are online exist in rarities. They represent a very small percentage of people doing that. Another part of the problem here is celebrity culture and celebrity worship. I have a whole other video on celebrity worship. People following folks and thinking that they represent the norm. So you have these also extremes of relationships. A lot of celebrities that make the blogs a lot are very toxic. They have a lot of trauma that hasn't been resolved or worked on. And then you have other people who are looking for fame because they think fame means I'm worthy. Fame equates to money. But if you pay attention to famous people, like, they do not like a lot of the things that come with fame. Like, they really wish they could just go outside and not be followed, or go and do regular normal things that humans have to do to live, versus being inundated with negative people and attackers and stalkers and all that stuff. But it's quite the drug, and so people are motivated by that. And so I really would like you, in your consuming of information on social media, first of all, limit your social media consumption. But secondly, if you're going to consume these kinds of videos, I want you to be a really critical viewer of them. I want you to think about, is the handsome, fit man who still hasn't found a wife, is he really interested in providing you with information on how to be in a healthy relationship? Are the people that you're watching, do they have the things that you want? Not that somebody who's single can't tell you about ways in which you can get married, because I do think that is possible. But there are so many intricacies of marriage, especially a marriage that lasts longer than 7 years, longer than 10 years, that only somebody who's been in it can really give you advice on. I say getting in a relationship, I don't think it's hard. I think the hardest part is staying in a happy and healthy relationship. And so all this focus on, first dates and where he should take you and all of that, those things really take away from the fact that a relationship is going to be real regular. It's going to be real day to day. It's not going to always be fancy trips or all this money spent. And if that's what you're looking for, if like you're that type of, you want a transactional relationship, like, have at it. I think there are enough people who also want that thing. But if you are really interested in connecting with a person on a soul level, you want to get to know them in all the ways, and you want to be seen and known by them in all the ways, you're really going to have to be careful about what you consume on social media, because you can become quite jaded with the negativity and all of the things feeding the gender wars. I fully believe that there is someone out there who will love you, a woman, a man who will love you just the way you are, who will be rooting for you to be better, and who wants to create together a beautiful life that you all can share for years and years and years, happy years to come. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, give this video a like, and share this video with somebody you think it may help. Thank you for watching.